Imagine, if you will, a visiting church leader, say a cardinal or bishop from another part of the world, coming to the cathedral in your hometown and criticizing the Catholics of your local church for failing to live up to their responsibility. Let's say he went even further and created a physical disturbance by overturning tables and chairs in the vestibule. The event would make the evening news for sure. The behavior of the church leader might even lead to his arrest for disturbing the peace. It would certainly shock people. I imagine by now that you know where I'm heading with this reflection. The gospel for today is from Luke chapter 19, which tells of Jesus cleansing the temple by driving out those selling animals for sacrifice. Jesus has just completed his long journey to Jerusalem, a major portion of Luke's narrative, and now the stage is set for the final act, the death and resurrection of Jesus. You can almost sense the heightened drama, the triumphant entry into the city, followed by this dramatic physical scene. Actually, Luke holds back the drama a bit. The account in John's Gospel, which we heard on a recent Sunday, adds more detail. But getting back to my opening example, behavior like Jesus shows us here in the temple would certainly shock the bystanders. What is he about? Well, those with knowledge of religious history would understand. Before Jesus, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, three of the greatest prophets of Israel, had been there and done that, at least in the sense of criticizing the people's lack of true worship. Jesus even draws on the words of Isaiah and Jeremiah when he says, "It is written, 'My house shall be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves.'" Jesus is acting in the spirit of those prophets, calling for authentic worship, worship that is centered on God. But remember, by the time Luke is writing, the temple itself has been destroyed by the Romans. Christians listening to this story retold by Luke would perhaps wonder, why tell it now? Perhaps Luke understood that prayer and worship are still open to the temptation of being about externals. We don't have to take sides on arguments about liturgy to agree that so often we, priests and laity alike, get hung up on the things that make our Sunday Mass function, the music, the vestments, the way people carry out the liturgy, and forget to first seek a prayerful spirit. Luke tells us that Jesus continued teaching daily in the temple, and that the people hung on his every word. Let us allow Jesus' presence with us in our Eucharist, through word and sacrament, to teach us the authentic worship, the spirit of prayer, which he calls us to have.